Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a place made just for you. We at Wayland-Yutani have done just that. Come explore our luxurious Earth-like biomes using state-of-the-art technology developed by Wayland Corporation. We have created perfection. Breathe air fresher than anything you have ever experienced. Swim in our crystal clear waters and experience what the finest genetic engineering has created by taking a simple stroll through a park. What are you waiting for? Come to Paradisio now and experience life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's once again time for our wonderful game of Alien RPG, Paradisio Lost. We are down 2 players tonight, which is very sad. And it's also the 2 players that are in the scene that was going to happen. So we will just kind of narrate that and leave it a mystery because none of the other players are there to see what would happen to them anyways. So I will probably just leave it ambiguous out of respect for them not being here. Everybody knows that they went to the brig, and we'll just kind of play it by ear to see what happens when shit hits the fan for the colony. If the players are able to reach them and save them, then that would be great. If not, it'll just be assumed that they are lost to the masses or found their own way off the planet. Anyways, I still have 3 wonderful players here, and my 2 players who are not here are also wonderful. I don't want to imply that these 3 are better than them. Wink. That's just a joke to icebreak. Yeah, it's just an icebreaker joke. Don't worry. Definitely not points for the 3 of you being here, but it just means I get to take out all of the alien aggression on the 3 of you tonight instead of them. And Pope is all for it. I mentioned it while doing Tunnel. If we hit 20 retweets, something good will happen for the players. So I
something
highly
good?
encourage. Yeah, something good. I'm a surprise. I'm gonna make something. I'm gonna make something more than what is going to be given on our already established 20 retweet goal. I'm gonna add something on it to make things good for you. You know, it maybe not an Ellen Ripley cameo, but something just as good. So I'm going to go ahead and also just remind everybody on my Discord channel that they should retweet so that can happen, because I didn't do it earlier. And so retweet. All right. There we go. So let's go around the table. Everybody can introduce themselves and who they will be playing in our wonderful finale episode.
Hey everybody, Pope here. I will be playing Bob, our resident technician. Both he and I use he, him pronouns. And yeah, things have gone awry. Terribly awry. This is what happens when you break containment. This is what happens when management isn't keeping their eye on the ball. You get these kind of problems, but we're here to find solutions, not issue complaints. We're here to find solutions. So hopefully we can find a way to still fix this.
Yeah. Next up, let's jump to Sarah.
Hey, I'm Anna, aka ArchivalDustBun most places on the internet, and I play Sarah, the pilot, who's really just here to fly things. These aliens are way above my pay grade, and I just want to get out of here.
You also have something very important to do today. Left somebody behind, unattended. The
Let me
most
go check
crucial
on my
moments.
girlfriend and see what Rindus has in mind for her.
It's true.
Sure, it'll be great.
True, yeah. I'm sure it'll be great. And last but
what if
never
she
least-
drowns? That would be the worst, right? For her character. Because of the water.
no.
Okay.
Yeah. I just
Speaking
got
of me
that.
saying dumb things.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, I'm PaladinHulk, Twitch moderator for Random Tuesday, Little Red Dot, and Polyscripted. And I, as always, am playing Gerald, who is, I guess, sort of management, and it's completely not to blame for anything that's happened on this colony, because, well, he doesn't really do all that much. So how could anything really be his fault? Doesn't make sense.
It's true.
And that's me.
And I mean, ultimately, it's your wife's fault if you really have to look at things. But Gerald would never admit that. He's firmly in the camp that she's doing a fine job. Fine job. I did just get the water joke too, and it amused me. What would happen if the pipes just malfunctioned in this one cell to really set a point of not wasting water? All right, so we bring ourselves in where we last left off, the camera in the Marshall's gel cell containment area, where our poor friend, and I almost called him Jack again, and I know that's wrong. Our good friend Charlie McDaniels. Our good friend Charlie McDaniels had described feeling not very well and having a stomach pain before they had fallen over onto the middle of the cell floor, and their chest had erupted, not with one, but multiple snake-like chestburster entities. We see that Juniper and Rosalind, who are currently locked in the cells, both give appropriate reactions. Rosalinda screaming in terror, and Juniper being a synth controlled by a psychiatrist, giving a rather non-committal that I imagine Mitch would do before the camera shows the xenomorphs doing their no-eyed scan of the room, letting out their sharp-fanged hisses, and then proceeding to scurry towards the warmest life forms or places to escape, and the camera cuts away from them. The camera instead goes to Sarah, who had left and didn't actually have anything to do last episode, and I promised that she would have some fun at the start of this episode. And so she had left to go check on Security Officer Issa, her quote-unquote newly established girlfriend, and I ship it personally because they've had some great chemistry, and you definitely don't leave your loved ones heavily medicated and unattended during a alien containment breach. And so, Sarah, you're moving rather quickly through the Hab block hallways back towards your residence. Remind me, because it's been a while, was Sarah notified of everything that was coming, or was she separate of that?
So I was in the bar with Gerald when he got the information about the purge protocol and lockdown, and we saw the face hugger, and so I know everything. You
know everything. Bob was the one who's in the dark, right? More or less. Bob has his own ideas of what's happening, but he's John Ramboing everything. Okay, so I'm on the same page. I just didn't want to get you too mixed up. So you know that things are bad, and you know that things are going to get worse. And so not just checking on her, but you want to make sure that when it's time to go, everyone important to you is there to leave. And so you reach your front door and you punch in the code to open it. And when you open it, everything is quiet and dark, just as you left it. Weyland-Yutani, of course, supplies wonderful mood lighting that can be turned on with the push of a button, or low lights that will set perfect horror movie ambiance when you leave a room, and it's very low energy cost. And so you see that there are long shadows cast everywhere within this apartment domicile, and you hear the soft sounds of heavily medicated breathing, but you also hear the sounds of something moving towards the top ceiling near where your ventilation grate would be. And in your worried state, you know that there is a vent in your bedroom.
Yeah, really hoping it's our pet cockroach dog. Hearing that, yeah, I'm gonna draw my sidearm and just flip on the lights, just full on.
Okay. Yeah, and so
you
you
see what's in here.
You flip on the lights, and you see that the grate for the main room is off its hinges, and there is a viscous substance that has leaked through it, like something had squeezed its way past. And the door that separates your common area from your bedroom is slightly ajar.
Yeah, I'm quickly scanning the room, see if I see any movement, while just saying shit.
Yeah, give me that quick observation.
Roll 20, be nice to me, please.
As a pilot, you're very good at that. You don't have dice in it, though. There's a hit. All right. You do a quick scan of the area, and you see that it is safe. There's nothing lurking in the now revealed corners of the room, nothing hiding under your standard issue Wayland-Yutani brand love seat or the 2 chairs and table that are given to you for a place for eating. And you cross the threshold to get to the door, and the sound of breathing hasn't stopped or isn't aware of your approaching. As I said, she's heavily medicated, so she probably slept through everything. But there is just a faint clicking sound coming from inside.
Can I tell where inside?
Sounds like it's near the bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna peek in the doorway as quietly as I can with my my sidearm ready and see if I can see what's going on.
Yeah. And so when you take that moment to steel yourself and you throw the door open, gun in hand, you see there she is, Issa, just as you left her, laying on the bed, asleep. But there is a mass sitting on her chest, a wrinkly, dog-like creature with cockroach wings that flutter every so often, and its gross mandibles clicking as it looks like it's injured from having squeezed through the vent. And it's just sitting there trying to get her attention like an injured dog would, because it knows that it recognized your scent, and so it followed it here. And so it's just sitting on Issa trying to wake her, and she's covered in this substance that would be left behind when it gives its cockroach dog kisses to try and rouse her, but she is just out.
Alright, yeah. Okay, I will look around, and if I left any like crumbs or pieces of food or anything sitting out, I'll grab something and just kind of hold it out.
Give me another observation roll.
Is there something else in the room?
No, nothing so horrifying.
Okay.
You do remember that you had some leftover food, but when you go to look for where it was on your desk, you see that the plate has already been knocked over, because as all dogs do, even with crossed with a cockroach, if there's food left unattended and no one there to see it, it will eat it. and it had eaten your food well before you arrived. But you call to
That's
it
okay.
and try and get its attention. Yeah, and it turns and it looks at you and it makes this chittered cockroach whimper dog sound that implies that it's in pain.
Getting a little closer, can I see what's wrong with it? How it's injured?
Yeah, I'll run off that last observation roll so I don't have you just keep doing it. You see that it looks like a couple of its legs on the right side are bent out of place or kind of damaged. Its little paws look sad and bloody, but it also looks distressed. It's shaking and its tail is between its legs, and it makes this whimpering sound at you again. And when you try to step closer to coax it off of Issa, there is a sudden crunching sound, the sound of its thorax starting to split. And very much like what had been seen with poor Charlie McDaniels, a creature emerges, this time out of the back of our dear abomination in the face of God, to release a new abomination in the face of God. A small chest burster with insect mandibles in front of its double mouth and fangs, but this one has a pair of insect wings that are shiny and glossy, and it emerges from this creature directly over top your girlfriend, spraying her in a goopy dog bug gore. But there it is. There's a creature that has emerged.
Okay. So when I laid Easy in here, I would have pulled her belt off with her weapons, and all the security officers have a stun baton.
Yes.
I want to grab that and bat this thing off of her.
All right. I will say that is within reason and reachable to you, because you had helped Isa out of all of her gear the night before. So the stun baton is there. Just give me a close combat roll, please.
I'm so bad at these.
That is a 0. Would you like to push?
Yes.
Oh, also, before you do that, I won't have it affect retroactively, but the emergence of the xenomorph would also put a stress on there. So take that stress first, and then go ahead and take another to push and reroll.
This is gonna go great. Oh, come on.
Okay. Let's see here.
Shot at it.
You had the gun. Okay. Scrolling up from where I was. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. So it has a number of things it can do. So I'm going to roll a d6, because that is how the monsters work. On a dice roll, determines what happens in this moment. And it's a 4. On a 4, terrorizing hiss. The chestburster jumps towards the target, flashing its razor-sharp teeth and hissing malevolently. The target must make an immediate panic roll. So it's what you see always happens in the movies. It emerges, it hisses, it looks directly at you, and it's that moment where you swing as it lunges at you, and it's that brief moment where you swing too early and it's still going at you with this determined hiss. So panic roll, please, and we will see where that takes us.
Okay. And I subtract 2 off of this because of my talent.
Yes, that wonderful 7. Talent that has saved a lot of really bad panic rolls in the past. So that is a 7. Nervous twitch, your stress level, and the stress level of all friendly PCs in short range increase by 1. So it's a very unnerving moment. It just continues to escalate the scene. Issa, who is drug-induced, unaware, kind of groans and rolls to her side, which causes the beetle bug dog to fall from her onto the floor. And at that moment, the sound and movement causes this creature to turn and regard what had fallen, seeing the corpse of its incubator, but it gives you an opening to try something else.
But it's no longer on Issa now, right? It's on the floor.
It's no longer on Issa, it's on the floor, making its way towards you.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna try and shoot the thing.
Alrighty. Yeah, you shift the one-handed grip of the stun baton to lift up with the other hand the pistol and fire away.
Yeah, I'll do like they taught us in training, put the wrist that's holding the stun baton under my other hand to steady the gun. That is 4 successes.
Hell yeah. All right. And so with 4 successes, the obvious one is the damage bump up, but you also have the choice of you can pin down the enemy. They need to make an immediate panic roll. You position yourself and get to exchange your initiative score, which doesn't really happen since it's just the two of you were just going back and forth. Your target drops its weapon, its mouth falls off, or your opponent falls to the ground or is pushed back. But yeah, you can also just dump all of it into damage.
I want it all in damage, yeah.
You want to pump it all in damage. All right, so that's 3 extra points, which would mean when I flip back to the chest bursters, because there are multiple types in this. That doesn't have armor rating. It does have an armor rating though, which in this is a reduction. So it has an armor rating of 2. Oh, acid splash. That's fun. Where is the information on its acid splash though? I want to make sure I do this right because we got to have our corrosive boys do their corrosive damage.
Or not. It could just splash under the bed and everything's fine.
Everything's fine. You just got to make sure it doesn't hit Issa is the real thing. Acid slash. But what ends up happening is you do enough even with the reduction. I just want to make sure what this does. Yeah, it's a good thing. You got it for sure. Any victim is broken by the acid splash. Okay, hold on. Special abilities: acid splash. Xenomorph is wounded. Some of his acid blood may splash on its attacker. Anyone within engaged range, which I will say Issa is not because she's on the bed and it's on the floor. Each type of xenomorph inflicts a different level of acid splash damage. Only damage that draws blood causes acid splash. Hence, a fire attack does not have this effect. Oh, they don't pop and just spray it? Okay. Strength of the acid splash is based on the acid splash rating of the xenomorph. Blah, blah, blah. A base dice with damage 1. Armor reduces this damage, but each success rolled, the armor rating is reduced by 1. Oh, that's fun. So that's how we deal with heavily armored Marines. It's just hit them with a lot of acid. Okay, so I just make an attack with it and see if any damage gets through. Cool. Chest burster. And their acids. Oh dear. Okay. Chest burster have acid splash of 4. So I'm going to roll 4 6s and see if anything gets through. 1 success. So Sarah, when you shoot it, you hit it dead on and you kill it. And this creature explodes and all of the acid sprays. None of it hits Issa, but a little bit of it goes for you. And so it's 1 point of damage that also reduces any armor you might be wearing by 1. Yeah. Face huggers,
don't you? But I only have 2 health, so that was...
Yikes. Huh. The eggs have an acid splash too. I didn't actually know that. That's neat. for when you go completely apeshit and just grenade launch the entire room of eggs.
Making a
So-
note of this, did the gunshot wake up Isa?
Isa is now awake. Yes, between your sudden scream of pain from realizing that this thing has acidic blood, and getting this loud gunshot, Isa jumps awake with a start and then winces in pain as well. But you see that it's not from acid; it is just from her earlier injuries and the pain medicine not being able to handle sudden movements.
We have to go. You need to get out. There's creatures in here. They've instituted lockdown and purge protocol, and I just point down at the alien that I just shot.
She looks down at it and she says, "What the fuck is that?" And then she looks down at the dead dog roach and she's even more startled. "What the fuck is that?" And there's just a lot of questions and no time for it.
Yeah, that was Juniper's pet. This thing was trying to eat you. It's dead. They have acid for the blood. It really hurts.
And there is
Need to go.
just a pool of sizzling that's burned into your carpet, and you feel like if Wayland Yutani ever comes back here, they're gonna find a way to charge you for it.
Probably.
Yeah. Isa's shakily on her feet. You can see that her head is still cloudy, but she understands. She's a soldier, even if it is private security. So she knows when things are bad and when she needs to get up and moving. And with your help, she's able to redress, put on most of her gear, and kind of wobbly re-equip her stun baton. And she says, "Okay, where are we going?"
We had gotten a notice to go somewhere, didn't we?
Yeah, Gerald had a contingency plan in place, which why don't we cut over to Gerald now as the two of you start making your way there as well. Gerald, where do we find you as
The
these
jail.
other two events? You were in the jail too?
I was
Okay,
in the
they
jail.
They were in the jail cell. You were in the jail. That's right, because you were there
Yeah,
with.
I was
with
standing
the-
next to Officer Victoria, who has the key to getting them both out, but
Yeah, and so Security Officer Victoria, when she sees the chest burster, she backs away, but she does have the keys in hand, and she says, "What the fuck are those?" As they start to scurry around, and the way these jail cell doors are set up, they're not like old-timey Western prison bars. These are solid doors with an opening that has bars on it, so that they can open it and look in and see what's happening. So you do have a viewport where you can see, but for the sake of this, you're not in any immediate danger of a containment breach unless they start climbing the door to get out.
or we do stupid things.
Like open the door.
Yeah. Can I shoot through that hole?
Yes.
Okay. First, I panic because,
Mhm.
frightening. I don't actually panic like rules-wise, but there is a certain amount of fear.
There's some inward
And then I'm
screaming for
gonna-
sure.
Like fumble for my gun, which I do have, and then I'm gonna try to save Juniper by shooting the alien in their cell. And me, the player, am equally happy to shoot it or Juniper.
Yeah, and to emphasize, multiple chest bursters emerged from Charlie McDaniel.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if that would register.
He's got it zeroed in on one of them for sure.
I'll just attempt to shoot and see what happens. We'll take it from
All
there.
right. Yeah, give me that ranged combat roll.
Nothing.
Gerald fires a shot, and it goes wide.
Oh, no.
I guess I have to ask, do you want to push to reroll?
I guess I should. I don't actually want to, but I feel like I have to.
If it doesn't feel like something Gerald would do, you could just have him take the shot and just be like, I did the best I could.
I miss, then I'm gonna look in to see what happened with my shot, if I got it. Then I'm gonna see that it's a lot, and then I'm gonna just go.
Yeah. Okay. And so the security officer, she looks like she's kind of gotten her senses back, and she's like, we have to help them. And she does the dumb NPC thing in any horror movie where common sense is overridden by a need to help people. And so, Gerald, you see her go for the door with the keys, but there is a moment, there's a chance for you to stop her. And she kind of looks and she says, but what if we could help them? And I think if you can roll a good manipulation, you can talk her out of it.
I'll point to Rosalinda, thinking we can save her, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
There we go, a success.
Okay. And so you're like,
she's in a different cell, so
you're right. And so you say save her at least. And so I
just point at the cell while I'm stumbling.
Yeah. And so she kind of looks. She looks to Rosalinda, and then she looks at the other cell where Juniper is trying to contend with these creatures, and she just says, I never liked the psychiatrist anyways, and she unlocks the door to get Juniper out. Juniper gives you a very thankful look as you didn't leave her behind.
Rosalinda.
Sorry, the other plant name.
Yep.
Because of course the two of them are there. Rosalinda. Rosalinda gives you a thankful look as you let her out, and Victoria leaves the keys in the cell door, and she says, "Okay, let's go," because she's not interested in.
Is there some sort of button we can push to kill everything in the cell? Maybe a grenade of some sort?
She's like, Weyland-Yutani does not give us the ability to just unceremoniously murder colonists, she says, believing that herself.
I mean, are we safe?
As long as they don't figure out how to tunnel through concrete, we should be fine.
Well, I mean, that's good then, but, you know, that's quite a lot. This sounds... Okay, all right, we'll go.
And so she closes the last door behind you, and it does have a security lock on it, and she sets that in place. It's a very impressive looking sturdy metal door that at least a person would have trouble getting through, unaware of acidic blood or how xenomorphs manage to move through tiny spaces. It feels
or that they just love eating concrete.
Or that they just love eating concrete. It's canon now. But you guys leave content that at least these ones are secure. She moves over to a desk and she says, I have to contact the marshal. And
oh yeah, please do.
She picks up the phone and she says, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but we need to warn anybody. And so she picks up the phone and she dials in for the main comms dispatch first, and she says, I need to report a containment breach. There are strange creatures within the marshal's cell. And she's immediately cut off by the sounds of screaming and panic in the other room, and you can hear it through the receiver, Gerald. There's just oh God, what is that? And like the quick succession of gunfire shots going off on the other end of the phone. And she's just like, hello? What's going on? What's happening?
And
that
sounds bad.
Yeah, and the phone line goes dead in her hands, and she just kind of looks down at it, and she says, "If the main building's been breached by these things too, where do we go?"
Let's go to the plane, maybe. Maybe they can still, make sense. We've got ours locked in. There's just a few over there still that I'm sure the marshal can. Maybe we can get these big guns out of the case that you have here.
She's like, "Yes, the guns, of course, the guns." And she pulls out like her little, or she would pull out her little key ring, but she left it in the door, and she goes, "Fuck, why did I do that?" And she starts to turn around to unlock that door. Do you stop her for any reason?
She knows what she's doing.
Into the cells.
Total faith.
Yeah, and so she opens that door, and you see her disappear back into the jail cell for a moment. The security door closes behind her as she goes. There's a moment where you have the option of locking it if for any reason you wanted to.
Why would I want to do that? That's terrible. No, I'm going to check on Rosalinda.
Not sure. Yeah. Okay. Rosalinda looks very shaken, and is kind of like giving you the eye, like, "Why are we still standing here? Let's run."
We're getting these big guns.
Yeah. And then from the other side of the door, even though it's a heavy, sturdy steel door, you hear the scream of Victoria.
Oh. All right. Perhaps we should leave, Rosalinda. You're very right.
And so
now I'll lock the security door.
Yeah, and because just the rule of thumb in any horror movie, the non-important character who goes off alone never makes it, and so this locker of guns stays unlocked. But Gerald, you might be able to find another set of keys. This is the marshal's office, after all. Did you want to take a look around before heading out?
I think this place is cursed enough.
All right. Yeah, so you and Rosalinda head off, heading towards I imagine, the rendezvous spot as well. We will cut to Bob now. Bob, you have been a man on a mission. Things have gone very bad in the colony, and only you can fix it. As the chaos around the colony has started to erupt, you see more of these robed individuals who had been sabotaging the hangar. They are currently running around the open area of the compound. Some of them have put graffiti up on various walls and have basically prostrated themselves in like thankful prayer, or that kind of like pose where they're on their knees with their hands together, but then they lean back, knowing full well that they're carrying these hostile life forms. And you see what's left of them either doubled over or in that kneeling position with their chests bursted, and regular colonists are running in terror as some are trying to round up people to bring them over to wherever they're infecting everyone with the face huggers to continue the propagation of this hostile species. You're muted.
All illusions and all attempts at maintaining the comfort of the colonists have gone away. So he is moving at unnatural speeds, and unless anyone tries to stop him, he is only headed to one place, and that is Central Power.
Okay. I feel like the chestburster aliens, as we will just call them, even if the three of you do not know what they are, for the sake of ease, they are not paying you any mind. You are not an organic creature. You are not able to further spread their glorious evolution, and they are paying you no mind when there are warm, fleshy creatures that they can feed on or continue to propagate themselves with. And the colonists are running. They're in full panic mode, and the cultists, the few that are still running around, they cannot keep up. And so you scurry and you run and you make your way to Central Power. It is a large and impressive building with a massive reactor because Weyland-Yutani goes big and it doesn't go home. A lot of the engineers in here have abandoned the facility in the chaos that ensues. And when you arrive here, you do see that there are two other individuals, one wearing a full-on cloak and another who everybody else would recognize when they see the camera, is the cultist leader, Joseph Bosco. He is currently standing in front of the reactor, and his minion has a set of tools, and it looks like they are attempting to sabotage the reactor and cause a meltdown. Or at least damage it enough to shut the power off. Maybe causing a meltdown is not the right word, because then everything will die. Or make it radioactive xenomorphs.
Pulling the torch off his belt, he's just going to ignite it real quickly and just jam it at the base of the neck of the cultist with the tools.
Yeah. Okay. And so you're moving quickly. The reaction time is not there for this initial surprise. So please give me a close combat or heavy machinery roll, whichever you feel is appropriate to do some repair work on this man's neck.
Close combat.
All right. Please hold while Bob fixes it.
That is one success with an extra degree, so 2 successes. Yeah. I will use that extra success for damage. Base damage of the torch is 3, so 4 armor piercing.
Nice. Let's see here. Where are you? Generic cultist mooks. I'm pretty sure they don't have a lot of health, if I remember correctly. Why is it set up like this? Where did they go? That's system and planets, alien species, other. Here we go. Okay. Totally different section. Put stats on 3 different places. All right. Cultist. They have a specific block. There they are. 4 health. How much did you say you did?
4.
4. Yeah. The cultists do not have armor. So when you jam this into his neck, there is a surprised gurgle and a fizzy popping sound as you weld his spine together, and he falls over. Joseph Bosco, however, is not caught so unaware, and he takes this moment to kind of turn and regard you, and he says, "You're already too late. You can't stop the glorious ascension." And he takes up a large-looking kind of... It's strange to see like a ceremonial ritual knife out in the frontier, but it looks like they had taken supplies and had crafted this on site. It doesn't look like it was imported from anywhere, but they had done their best to make this cool-looking ritual dagger, and he's gonna just take a moment to try and swing at you with it. And he's got 7. full successes for poking at you.
All right.
Do you have any armor by chance? Your
I do
clothing
not.
might give some kind of... Okay.
Nah,
Nah.
I'm just in maintenance overalls.
Maintenance overalls. The
But
combat
I
knife...
do have resilient.
Ah, there we go.
So, what's his damage? 'Cause that's not
I'm
hard.
finding the... Yeah, I'm finding the combat knife here. Knife will do a base damage of 2. He's going to spend it to up it by 1, so it would do 3.
All right. Well,
Or actually,
that's
no, I already said it. That's what he's doing. It's just going to be extra damage.
all right. So I reduced the damage by 1.
Okay. So you take 2, and it cuts, and there's a flash of milky white as it draws some of your precious synth lifeblood, life goop. But you can act now, so we don't need to roll initiative when it's a 1v1.
Yeah, with the same welder and just no care, not even an expression of like murderous rage. It's just another thing to fix. Yeah, that's 5 successes to fix it.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Are you gonna spend the stunts for anything more than damage?
Doesn't feel necessary. It's just the horror of just the stabbing, pulling out, seeing the white fluid, and then just nonchalantly with the welding torch going right into the center of his head.
Yeah. And so your base damage is insane, and with 4 extra, he does not have armor, and with 4 health, it's overkill. Let's see, does he have anything that might reduce it outside of that? Nope. Alien combat is fast and deadly, and Bob, you bring an end to the cultist leader. You bring it up, and I think cinematically there's a bit of a struggle. You've got the welding torch in hand, and he's grabbed it, and he's trying to like keep you from bringing it towards his face, and it's coming in really slowly. You've got this emotionless stare as you're bringing it in, and in true bad guy fashion, the last thing he says before his face is melted is, "It's just, you can't stop it. She's already emerged." And then you just bring it down, and he gives this pained wail as his face is soldered.
With those 2 problems now contained, turn off torch and just goes over to the control panel and see what they've managed to do.
Yeah. Okay, give me a heavy machinery roll, or observation roll to assess it first.
Let's do heavy machinery. A success.
1 success. It looks like they had been going for the blunt force approach to disabling this energy generator. It's not going to be something that's hard to fix, but it looks like if it had been left unattended, the colony would have lost power rather quickly. And if they had been left to continue, it would have been unsalvageable. But you got to them in time, and you know that if you spend some time on it, you should be able to keep the power going.
And then just nonchalantly turns on the comm to just switches it over, realizing all of the screams now that catching up with their consciousness. Just the broad channel.
Hmm.
Cultist activity has been neutralized in Central Power. Do not see any non-humanoid bioforms. Status report to anyone who's reading, over.
Both Sarah and Gerald would hear this. Issa's radio comes in, picking it up for Sarah as the two of you are making your way. How do each of you respond from your various spots?
I'll turn to Rosalinda and say, cultists, I think Bob's lost his marbles.
She just kind of nods in agreement.
And then we just wander around. Sarah?
Sarah!
Yeah, hearing that, I shake my head, because cultists on top of alien life forms, this is not the day I was hoping it was going to be.
You guys are very surprised that there were cultists here. I know.
Yeah. I am, though, going to send a message to Gerald, because I know that he has the... If anybody's going to get out of here, it's him and his wife. Asking where we're supposed to go. Can we get out of here? That sort of thing.
Yeah. I don't know, like, what do I see when I'm out there? Do I see how badly everything has gone to hell?
Yeah, you and Juniper see that everything has gone.
Nope. Try again.
God damn it. If they had different names, this wouldn't be so hard. Rosalinda.
Every letter is different. Every letter.
They're both plants. Okay. Rosalinda. I almost said it again, too, and that's the worst part. Rosalinda. You and Rosalinda see that everything has just gone pear-shaped. It is not a good place to be out here. There are dead cultists with their chests ripped open, trails of blood leading off in various directions. The graffiti on the wall have spray paint things like "She has risen, don't fight it, embrace." Things like very cultisty things that are heralding something terrible has been unleashed on the colony. And the few people that you can see running around are either being chased down or are dead, as things look like they have burrowed into them to feed, or they are lying very still on the ground with the creature that Rosalinda had fought off with a kitchen knife connected to their faces and with tails wrapped around their necks. They're just laying, face up on the ground, completely motionless.
Well, things have gone rather poorly. Perhaps we should go somewhere safe.
We should go somewhere safe.
I'll shoot one of the guys with the facehuggers in the face while we're going.
I don't need to roll for that. However,
I'll go like.
Yeah. However, as established, xenomorphs have a wonderful acid splash, and this is going to be when Gerald finds out that it does. So I will just roll that real quick. Yeah, and it's 46. Oh dear. And so when you kind of look away and you're really close and you pop it, it splashes up, and Gerald takes 2 splash of acid. It doesn't kill him, right?
Consequences? What?
It doesn't kill him, right? He's got more than 2?
How do you do health?
It's your strength.
Yeah, it's your strength score.
Then I have a whole hit point left.
Oh, thank goodness. You're not looking good. It splashes up the side where you're holding the gun, and it just sears into your arm and your nice attire, and it burns. It burns so badly. Um,
I drop the gun because that's the arm I'm holding the gun with. Then I'll
Okay.
take off the jacket that I'm wearing. Like, oh, I'm hurt. And I'll just stand there.
Looking shocked. Okay, let's see here. There's a roll I have to
I'll give
make
myself a stretch
when
for
things
that.
start to get closer. Yeah, I would for sure. General rules for running a xenomorph. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna just make a tick, and why don't we cut to Sarah? Sarah, you were told
I don't reply to your
head-
message, Sarah, because I'm busy doing stuff.
He's busy freaking out. Sarah, as you and Issa come out of the hab blocks, this is about the time where you see Bob emerging from the engineering power station. He is covered in blood and holding a welding torch.
Just point of note, since Isa is on pain meds, I have taken her heavier gun, whatever that might be.
They keep all of the heavy weapons in lock, and so you would have her sidearm if you took her gun.
Boo. Okay.
Actually, roll a 1d2. I'll say it's a 50-50 chance she might have held on to it because she was on pain medicine when you recovered her. Maybe she hadn't taken it back to the locker yet. Okay, she did. I just wanted to leave it to chance. She does have keys to the weapon locker, though. That is something you would know.
Yeah.
Maybe mean going to the marshal's office.
Yeah. Which I think is fine. I don't know any better. But I see Bob. And Bob is a friend. He helped me fix, or was helping me fix.
He fixes it.
The VTOL. Yeah, he fixes it. And he could probably fix this too. So I'll wave him down from wherever I see him across the room or whatever. And as long as I don't see any other cultists or aliens, I'll quickly make my way towards him.
Mm-hmm. Bob, there are life forms, and they don't seem hostile.
Just heads on a swivel, but yeah, Sarah, you can tell his demeanor has gone from "ha, let me keep everyone comfortable" to "I don't care anymore." And just
Bob,
lowers the welding torch, just keeping it casual at the side as he comes up towards you.
What's going on? Do you know what's going on?
Cultists and mismanagement and xenobioforms.
Yeah, there was one in my room too. I shot it. What do we do?
Protocol would say, well, I've already gotten at least central power contained, though considering the mass of these critters, I would need to get a torch to make certain that there's cleaning, but that's down my list. Next would be to secure medical and the armory, and wait for the Marines to arrive, as I believe, at least the knowledge I have, which is on the books, of all vehicles most likely have been sabotaged.
So you don't think the VTOL will fly?
One that I fixed? No, they made certain to break that.
When the Marines come, overheard with Gerald, it's purge protocol, so they're going to kill everything.
Head just sort of clicks to the side for a second. By the time they arrive, we would have time to get to the central computer and forge documents to make certain that both you and her, looking at Issa, are considered priority.
Okay. Okay, how do we do that?
That would be securing either the executive suite or central processing.
I don't know where either of those are. Maybe we can find Gerald. Have you seen him around?
The deputy executive manager is not a priority.
Oh. Okay. Do you know where central processing is then?
Yes. Just points in the precise direction if you could just walk through walls.
Could you show me? You said you needed to lock it down anyways, right?
It's on the list of things to do. I guess we can move it up. And just like an internal like priority list, just moving central processing to above medical.
Yeah. And so,
Thank you.
With Bob in tow now, or Bob towing the two of you, rather, you head off towards central processing. It's part of the main structure building, which unfortunately neither of you know has been overrun at this point, but you set off with the intent of reaching this building. Excuse me, there's been something in my throat for the whole show. Hopefully it's not a xenomorph. The three of you make your way, and I just make another tick on a tracker that I am doing. As you all head for this building, you see that the signs of others having made their way here become more apparent. It's the largest building. It's what's deemed the most secure. But there are just scores of the 200 citizens that would have been here who knew to evacuate when something bad happens. There's just a lot of bodies here. A number of those face up, still lying bodies with these creatures attached to their faces in tight grip and strangleholds around their necks. A cursory glance as you pass by Sarah, it looks like they're dead. You've never seen this before, but the way they're laying kind of implies that they, went still and they were moved to be in such a position, but they're not moving anymore, and they all have that very I'm laying on my back asleep kind of position.
This is terrible.
Issa just shakes her head.
Quiet. Yeah. There's a lot of quiet, and then eventually a little bit of old Bob pops through. This is what happens when you have the wrong people in places of power.
When enough travel time has passed, you guys reach the front double doors, and you see that one of the doors is off the hinges. It looks like an attempt to barricade had been made in haste. Bob, you would quickly assess that it was very poor construction. You see places where you would have shored up some stability and put something else in a spot that would have counterbalanced weight, that would have had more of a holding power from whatever had impacted and rammed the doors open. And inside is much less clean than the exterior, and the exterior is a hot mess. In close quarters, it looks like there was a bloodbath. There is gore and limbs and people lying dead just everywhere. And if anybody takes a moment to examine what might have happened, it looks like there were a series of rapid punctures that had gone into the bodies instead of the eruption of gore and violence that the chest bursters had done. These were precision shots, or tearing of flesh through clawed appendages.
Yeah, Sarah's not paying attention to this. She's focusing on keeping Isa upright and getting where we're going, and trying to ignore all of this carnage. She is not a soldier.
Right. I'm gonna just keep flipping back and forth because that keeps the tension going for everybody. Gerald and Rosalinda, you know that the safe house is safest in your house, because that would be where your wife would go.
I don't know.
I mean, you guys
I
have
feel
a
like
safe
now that
bunker
we're out
built in.
here, I want to go to the VTOL.
You want to go to the VTOL?
Okay. Yep. Like, the entire colony's fucked up. There's corpses and aliens everywhere. Clearly, the plane is the way to go, right?
No, and that makes sense because you have no idea that it's not working.
Don't know. Exactly.
So the two of you.
I'm gonna.
The two of you.
As I stare at my injured arm and freak out, I'll have Rosalinda pick up the gun that I dropped and nudge me along towards the VTOL.
Yeah. Rosalinda keeps the gun gripped in hand. And Gerald, it's kind of strange. Rosalinda holds it in such a way that gives an indication that this is not something new to her.
I'm sure the audience appreciates that, but I think Gerald's too focused on being hurt for the first time in his entire life. So.
This is what pain feels like.
Yeah.
It probably comes off then as a very subtle wink and nod to the audience, and what I know of her backstory, that it's strange that Rosalinda handles this gun with familiarity, to quickly check and make sure that there's ammo in the clip and that it's one in the chamber, and the safety is their finger and not the little button that is there to reassure untrained people. But they give you a nod, and when the two of you enter the hangar, you see the horrific bloodbath that was something that killed a number of cultists, and the awful state of the VTOL and the other vehicles that were stationed here. The cultists look like they had been burned and cut with soldering tools, welding implements. It looks like at least one tried to fight back from whatever had did this, but were easily overpowered. And more importantly, there is a pair of legs sticking out from underneath a lowered truck, and just a pool of blood and internal guts that splattered out in that very spray pattern from when something heavy crushes a tomato kind of way.
Who am I? The thing is, I'll grab like a towel from somewhere that's just hanging, and I'll wrap it around my injured arm.
Yeah. You want to roll a medical aid for me? See if we can try and do at least a quick patch job on you.
I don't have any points in it, so let's find out.
Let me see. She doesn't have it either. Okay. She's not that kind of doctor, y'all.
Close enough. Well, I have a success and an alien bug thing.
That's the panic.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah, so go ahead and give me a panic
let me roll a panic roll. Where's that? There it is.
7.
7.
Nervous twitch. You raised up everybody in the vicinity's panic. So the dead bodies panic goes up by 1. Rosalinda's panic goes up by 1. Yours goes up by 1. And so you're shaking. The pain is what's causing this panic, and Rosalinda steps over to try and help. And I think just for the sake of it, I'm gonna go ahead and roll and see if they can get it. But their stress is so high. Let's see if she can help. Nope.
Wow, that's a lot of panic.
That's a lot
and
of panic.
A lot of
There's stress
successes. Yeah.
and 2 panics. So let's see. Where is the panic button on here? I don't have a sheet to roll, so I don't actually know. There it is. 9. Drop item. They drop the gun. They see you trying to tend to yourself, and where a trained killer's visage had been on their face for a moment, it's dropped when they see that you're struggling and in pain. And the doctor, in quotes, because a scientist doctor is not a medical doctor, the doctor side kicks in and they rush over to try and help. And in that, they drop the gun to do so. And the 2 of you fiddle and mess with this wrapping to keep your burned skin covered. And ultimately, it doesn't amount to much, but you have the comfort of covering it at least. And it stings as that raw, burnt flesh is in contact with, fibers, and it's not a good time for you.
Yeah.
And I think that this is the time that I will have something appear and emerge. And what something is, it is the next stage of evolution, because at least one thing has had time to grow.
A neo-human.
Aha!
No?
No.
Darn.
It says in this one, the next stage, because these things grow in stages, would be a stalker, scout, or drone. And so the because I don't know metrics very well. How tall in American is 2.7 meters?
Ooh, that's very tall.
That is, so that's at least, okay, so 6, so about 7'6".
Okay, that actually sounds about right, because you always see in the movies the xenomorphs are hunched over, and when they stand at their full height, at least in the first movie, he towered over what's his name, the guy in the Hawaiian shirt. It was a big boy.
So it's 8.9 feet.
Oh, it's a big boy.
Oh no.
Yeah, we have this scene of the 2 of you trying to administer first aid, and the camera shot is far back in this hangar, and we see the 2 of you working, and just from somewhere in a corner behind some machinery, you just see this creature uncurl itself from where it had been resting. A large tail whips out. It's black and bladed on the end, and then this creature rises up. It has a large conical head, glossy sheen. It's the xenomorph that we all know and love in its evolutionary glory, once it has passed beyond being a chest burster. And it makes a very soft hissing click sound, and it will move towards you all, and I am going to roll what happens, because that is how these things operate. 4. On a 4, ready to kill. Oh, fun.
That's bad. Before it does that, can I have it shove a car aside as it moves towards us, and then I say, "Oh, hello," and then it can do its thing.
Yeah. You have a moment to notice it as it starts to make its way towards you, and Gerald gets his line through. And I'm going to just determine this with a coin toss. Okay. Odds were Gerald. And so what it says is the xenomorph grabs its victim, its inner jaws poised to strike. Roll for attack with 10 base dice. Dear God. If it hits, the victim counts as grabbed, see page 93, and needs to make an opposed close combat roll against base 10 to break loose. The victim and all friendly characters in the same zone must make panic rolls. Unless the victim breaks free, the xenomorph will use its headbite attack against them on the next initiative. So nothing bad happens this round aside from it attempting to grab you. And so what we're doing is an opposed roll with close combat against the 10 that I'm going to be rolling.
Okay.
And so you can roll your close combat. I'm going to roll the 10.
Shockingly,
Oh, no.
I am also bad at this because that's how I made the character. So,
Yeah.
no successes and another panic.
Well, hey, it also didn't succeed. And also rolled a panic.
My brain just wants us to be like to each other.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing this moment of where Gerald goes, "Hello," and this thing like has moved one of the heavy exploratory vehicles on jungle planet, just pushed it aside like it was nothing. Comes at Gerald, just reaches its arms out, swings, and Gerald in that moment of panic is almost fainting and just gets out of the way as those two claws clap together.
He ducks and covers because it's the defensive thing to do. In the I'm doomed or it will miss kind of duck and cover, and it does. It's just as it says, it goes wide in that moment. And so when that happens, I will tick up the panic again because that's what's supposed to happen. Rosalinda takes this time to try and grab the gun, and she just yells for Gerald to run. And I'm going to have her take a shot with all of these panic dice. 9 panic dice. Oh, God, how did it get this bad? Okay. Yep. She could have just stayed in the cell and been fine. Panic roll.
Episode title: Oh God, how did it get so bad?
Oh God, how did it get so bad? It's an 11. Actually, that's not terrible at all. 11, seek cover. You must use your next action to move away from danger and find a safe spot if possible. You are allowed to make a retreat roll, page 93, if you have an enemy at engaged range. I feel like she's not at the engaged range. She's using a gun, so she's a little bit further back.
It's still too early in the relationship for engaged.
Yeah. You just met. Your stress level is decreased by 1, but the stress level of all friendly PCs in short range increases by 1. After 1 round, they can act normally. So the way this plays out, Gerald ducks. She grabs the gun, fires the shot as it misses, she misses. She just goes, fuck that, drops the gun, and Gerald, you tick on that extra stress as you see her throw the gun and book it. She has left you behind to try and find somewhere safe to hide, leaving you with this creature. Also, on the flip side, if she had hit, you probably still would have died from the acid splash. So, hey, that's progress, I guess.
That is fair.
And and so, Gerald, it's your turn. I will remind you that, as it's stated on here, there is an action you can take called the retreat roll on page 93 if you do not want to try your luck with 1v1ing it with a kitchen knife, as Rosie had.
Oh, no. Like, I think both of those options are terrible. You know, I can't fight it, and I can't outrun it. But what if I continue to play dead? So I'm just going to continue to duck and cover and hope it chases Rosalinda.
I'm for it. I'm for it. Give me a manipulation roll. It's going to need 2 successes because it's a predator and it was going after you. But if you play dead well enough, I'll allow it.
No one does it better.
Yes! Perfect.
Yeah.
That is so good.
And the Oscar goes to.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. He goes belly up, sticks a tongue out, closes his eyes. There's a little peek out of the corner of his eye as it does. It regards for a second. We have the Sigourney Weaver shot of like the alien head coming in real close and just kind of sniffing at Gerald, and it believes that you're dead. It must have thought that it got you with the claw or something, but the gunshot was enough to draw its attention, and with a moving target, it turns and it bounds off after Rosalinda now. And we see the 2 of them exit out of this building. So now that I can just say that this character is gone, and I don't have to feel bad if something happens on screen to somebody who's not here. So
this is a good ending for her.
Yeah, she has run off, and the ending is ambiguous to what happens from there. Gerald, you lay still for several moments, counting the beats of your heart and the distant sound of the creature running away. When you feel it's safe, you get back up. But what do you do from there?
I go into the VTOL, which was the plan. I don't know if I'm technically adept enough to see that it's non-functional, so I'm just going to get in, see if I can't make it work, and if I can't, I'm just going to sit there.
All right. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so go into the VTOL. You do see that it looks like the interior is fine. Any of the damage was done on the underside or at the engines. None of the things that we both know Gerald didn't look at while going into the VTOL. When you get there, what you do end up seeing is the unfortunate body of our dear beloved co-pilot, Richard.
No.
Richard it looks like he had been doing some maintenance as he had established. He had stayed behind to try and work on the VTOL. But you see he's sitting where he had left himself off doing this work, and his throat had been slit. He had been spared the awful fate of becoming a subject for the xenomorphs, but he did not survive when the cultists came to sabotage all of the vehicles. So you see him there sitting, his shades down, in his wonderful Hawaiian shirt stained red now, but he's in the co-pilot seat. The actual pilot seat, Sarah's chair, is unoccupied.
I think there's going to be a moment where I don't realize he's dead. You know, I climb up, I see his shoulder or something. I'm like, oh, Richard, you're... Oh. Oh. I'm going to, like, try to check if he's alive. Like, he's obviously dead. So... and then I'll try to get the plane to go, which it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And then I'm just going to sit there.
Yeah, I won't ask for a roll because we both know that it won't work.
It can't. It
can't. It won't. There's maybe a moment where when you do the startup sequence, which is for Gerald just flipping a bunch of buttons and pressing stuff, hoping that it'll go. There's the sound of the engine starting, and then something grinding and a smoky pop, and that awful sound of it's dead, Jim. It's not going anywhere. And so, unfortunately, I love these clips tonight. it's very clear that it's just not going anywhere, and you resign yourself to just sitting. But at least you have company that won't run out on you.
Yep. And I'm good if that's where we end my character.
Okay,
Like,
yeah, that's fine.
This is where we leave him.
He just hunkers down, or at least for now, because your wife is still somewhere. And if something turns up with the wife, maybe she'll reach out to you. But they have to find her first.
Right.
We cut back to Sarah and Bob, who are making their way through the main building to try and reach the data center to try and alter these documents. The signs of a last stand are here in the communication room. Barriers had been hastily thrown together, and it looks like a group of cultists had first tried to get in, and there was a quick firefight exchange, and then from them the other creatures had emerged, and it caused these folks to get attacked. And then whatever this big thing was that rampaged through on the survivors has come and gone. But there is a section of grates on the grating floor that has been pulled up, and it does look like it had burrowed either in or out of this area, leaving the area in the mess that it is. You also see that near the back in the area that looks like it was the last stand is what's left of Marshal Bravestar. You actually see that the upper half of Marshal Bravestar is over here, and the lower half of Marshal Bravestar is over here. Something had torn him from the waist, and he was holding his oversized Magnum revolver in one hand and a very cool looking hunting knife in the other. And it looks like he did try to make a valiant stand and just did not do well in the aftermath of that. There's a splash of what Bob would recognize as a caustic acid on the body armor that he had been wearing, and on a good number of the security forces as well. Issa does the thing that people do when they see a gruesome sight of a dead body, and she just hides her face in Shara's shoulder and kind of holds back a sob, because we're still on a mission and got to stay strong. But she's trying to stay strong in comfort with Sarah. But this place looks a mess, but the communications array is still there. The cultists weren't able to get to it and sabotage. It was just what was heard over the radio that everybody here died in a quick conflict.
I'll give Issa a tight squeeze, and then I'll bend down and pick up the marshal's gun, because I'm guessing it's probably better than mine. What could have done this?
I don't know.
A biomorph. There were multiple things being tested here. Something broke containment.
Scientists that gave me the creeps should have known they were working on something like this. Let's just...
Most synthetics are outlawed from being part of war due to treaty. Bioweapons are the next logical step. Grabs knife, puts that in belt, and then just heads over to the comms.
Alright, I'm just typing up the gun here for a moment so I can get that over. Medium range. That's all the important information. I'm going to go ahead and name this gun because it's the last episode. It's going to be called the Brave Star. and so it has a +2 bonus on it. It does +3 damage, and it has a medium range. But it does have a very cool engraving on it. It just says USMC Marshal on it. And hey, congratulations, you just got promoted, I guess. You are now the Marshal. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Whoa, we did it. Roll credits. But anyways, you head over. You head over to the comms. You're surprised to see that they're in relatively good peace. Nothing managed to splash acid on it. Nobody managed to sabotage any wires. It's probably the best news you've seen all day.
Do you have your ID lanyards on you?
Issa nods.
Yes.
Just gestures for them to get into Bob's hand.
Issa hands hers over without hesitation. She's kind of like half hazed, looking around, keeping an eye on things. Her eyes seem to be focused on the hole in the ground, but otherwise is helping as best she can.
Since Issa was the first one to hand hers over, we will try our first bit of processing on Issa's profile and probably update it to swap Issa to be the current acting marshal.
All right. So then please give me a roll, Bob, and it's gonna be... Yep. And it's going to have a 2 difficulty as well, so I need at least 2 successes because we are doing some deep hacking.
2 successes.
2 successes. And so, it takes only a little bit of time. Your processing speed is significantly faster than a human's, and so you're able to get this all changed over into at least the immediate closed circuit system, to show that they are the marshal and they are given priority status. And then you go to do the same for the next ID.
Yep. Let's try this again. Only one.
Only one. And as a synth, you are not able to push, yeah?
Nope. Cannot push.
Okay. So this isn't a failure in the sense that it didn't work. This is more of a failure in the sense that the system is aware now that something happened. And so there's an attempt by the mother system that all Weyland-Yutani ships, larger ships, and colonies have for helping maintain things, is aware of what you're doing now, and it's going to attempt to lock you out. And so, while it's not necessarily a reroll, I will let you try one more time before you're locked out of the system.
No successes.
Here. Okay. And so, you are unceremoniously booted from the system, and it just says execution terminated, unauthorized access, and the screen doesn't go black, but you know that you are locked out from being able to do anything else with it.
Mother is hostile. Sorry.
Did it work?
No. System saw intrusion, immediately locked out. Means that there were black sites on planet.
Did it just lock you out here? Can we find another console, or are you locked out completely? Is it just you? Could another user do it?
Would need executive access.
Okay. We got Issa updated. That's something. Just have to come up with a new plan.
Yeah, that That doesn't really help, though. It means you're going to be stuck.
Can you
There are multiple ways
deputize
to try
me?
and fix this.
I mean, I can, but we upgraded my status because I would have been expendable too, and that realization is that very disheartening, sinking feeling that quickly crosses her face at the realization that she was expendable to Weyland-Yutani, and she says, "Isn't there anything else we can do?"
Head to Executive Suite or obtain executive access passes.
There's a sudden resolved look on her face, and she says, "You know what? Yeah, fuck them. Let's get into the suite and see if we can get you executive access." Where even is she? If the exec is here, we might be able to get her ID, and you could become her and get you off of here.
Possible, but would need physical copy.
Let's try to head to her suite then. I mean, it's a bad idea. There's always the pirates. They're not connected to the company at all.
She just kind of gives a look like, the pirates, really? And then she's just like,
I know.
Oh shit.
Let's try the executive suite first. But they're already going to kill us, so what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I guess you have something to lose now, but regardless, let's give this a shot.
I mean, if we do the pirates, at least we can get Bob out too.
By all accounts, with current activation, I am Weyland-Yutani property. They will most likely wipe my mind. That is all. I will still live.
Right, so we get Bob out too. It's just kind of like, yeah, that just reaffirms what I said. Pirates don't care about that. They'll find you a better purpose than wiping your memory.
We'll see.
All right. You don't necessarily know where Gerald's domicile is, but you do know what half block he lived in. And so
no, I do know precisely. Gerald's
you do know. You do. I was thinking Sarah. Sarah hadn't been there, but yes, you had gone there and done work. So yeah, you take the lead. And so I moved my tracker from one spot to another as you guys are in transit. And so when you reach the half block, this area, much like the others, looks like it had been caught unaware by the chaos that ensued. And while it isn't a complete bloodbath here, the few wealthier individuals who had lived here looked like they did not get out. The door is not locked when you try and open it, and it looks like a number of the vents had been dislodged, and there are signs of people having been pulled into them, struggling to not get dragged away, or had just died in the hallway. A few of the apartment doors are left open, and you can see that struggles had been made in there. But at the very far end is the executive suite, where Gerald and his wife would have been living.
Okay, so what do we need from there? Just access to the computer? Is that what you need?
Depends on what security features have been activated. It could just be a matter of accessing console, or I may need actual physical documents, depending on what protocols Mother has enacted.
Okay, well, first thing is to get in. Is the door shut?
The door is shut, and this is a door that is locked.
I would like to use my jack, please, to force this open.
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me a roll for that. Bust that wide open.
One success.
One success. Yeah. You say, hold please, and then you bring it in and you pop it. And there's a satisfying sound of the lock sliding back, and the door is now able to be opened. Do I need to pull something
Slide in.
Bob, you're the first one in. Okay. I'm going to make a roll here. Huh, right money. That's funny. Okay. There is a quick gunshot that goes off, but it is from somebody who is not trained in handling a firearm. As you hear the words, "Stay back," and oh, yeah, she doesn't roll well. A bullet hits the wall to your right as she panics and pulls the trigger at the sound of something forcing its way into the room, which would be you. But the bullet hits the wall, and she yelps and drops the gun as the three of you see Gerald's wife, Margaret Atwell. She looks like she had been getting ready to open the panic room when you all had arrived. So this like bookshelf compartment is halfway open, and the keypad is like, please finish entering code.
Good evening, Executive Atwell.
Oh, Bob, you scared me. Bob, why are you here? She's trying to play it very cool, knowing full well what had been happening outside and what happens to synths when they go off their rocker and you're currently covered in blood.
As an LMS 400 part of Hyperdyne System Series, a emergency event has occurred. Emergency protocols have been enacted.
Yeah.
The central power is secure. Comms
good.
are secure. Executive
Wonderful.
Suite is in the process of being secured.
Oh, yes, I was just about to be going into the panic room and securing it, Bob. Wonderful. Have you seen Gerald? I didn't want to close it without him.
Gerald is not responding.
And you see her attempt to put on a strong face kind of wilts a bit at that, because to her, the implication of Gerald not responding means that something bad happened to Gerald. She has no idea where her husband is. And it shows on her face, even to a emotionless synth.
Currently in presence is the current acting marshal and the one pilot that can get you off this rock currently.
And she was off. The Marines are going to get me out of here.
The Marines are poorly armed to deal with current conflict. Based on current military protocols, they will come, they will fight, they will die. They will fail to report in within 24 hours, site will be nuked for morbid.
It's the only way to be sure. Yes, I'm aware of the protocol. And she looks over your shoulder to Sarah and Isa, and with the implication that the marshal is also dead, she says, so Isa, was it? And Isa just nods, and she says, so you're the marshal? And she says, I know you as well. Sarah, you're new here.
Yes.
How do you plan on getting us out of here?
Find something that can fly. Everything here, Bob said, was sabotaged, though, so I have a really dumb plan. There are pirates in the jungle.
Pirates? They were reported eliminated. And she looks at Issa, and Issa just kind of does the like, yeah, turns out
It was
we
your
struck
husband's
a deal
call.
and oh, Gerald, what did you do? And she just kind of looks worried, and she says, they have a way to get us out of here.
They had to get here somehow. They have to have a ship.
You're right. You're right, of course. And she says, all right, call them.
We'll need access to your executive terminal.
She walks back over to the panic room and finishes punching in her series of codes. And there's the sliding sound and the depressurization as this overly complicated secure room opens up, and it looks like the most comfortable, albeit tight, living space you've ever seen. Opens up and reveals, and there is a personal desk there. And she says, "Of course, if it's going to get us out of here," and she walks over and she puts her key card in and punches in a code, and she says, "Here, do what you have to."
Going to open a comm channel to use. I'm not going to activate it immediately. I am then going to, while the comm channel is open, switch current acting executive over to Sarah.
All right. Give me another CommTech roll. This will only need one success since you do have executive privilege currently.
One success.
There it is. She's not looking. She put her full faith in you, in not trying to do something underhanded as an obedient synth. So when you switch this over, it clears, and then you're able to quickly close out of that to open up what you were actually going, or what you were going to do that you said you were going to do before she looks back.
Do you have a particular comm signal, or is this open channel? Leaning over and looking at Sarah.
Would I know from when we dealt with the pirates?
You wouldn't. Gerald had been the one in communication with the new captain.
Gerald knew. I have no idea.
We'll attempt broadband, broad spectrum comms. And try and get a message out.
When you open up the message, Gerald, I know we parted ways with him, but this is one message that does break through over all of the calls for help and the screams of panic, or just the checking to see if anybody else was alive. You hear Sarah's voice attempting to call out to a pirate who we had jokingly said his name was Starbeard, but we're going to go ahead and make that official now. Calling out to try and reach the pirates under the command of Starbeard to see if there's a response. Gerald, you know that you kept them on the payroll and you had communicated to them through a private channel. Is this a moment where you'll break radio silence?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay.
Like,
Alrighty.
we're getting real desperate now.
Yeah.
But
You hear the
I've also been
desperation.
seeing all these messages from people who are like 2 seconds away from dying, right? So it's like, oh, she's gonna die in 2 seconds as well now. So that's too bad.
Okay. So please give me a ComTech roll. Bob or Sarah, whoever wants to make this call. Or one assist the other and take a bonus die.
I mean, I can assist. I have a 7. I have 7 total die in ComTech.
Same here.
Cool.
I have a lot of stress. So I will assist you.
Assist Bob.
Okay. Bob has a steady hand.
There it
3
is.
successes.
Okay. Let me see what successes with ComTech gets you. I don't think we've had this come up yet. I'm curious. ComTech, because they are not alphabetical. There it is.
Nope.
All right. On stunts, +1 modification to any later roll relating. You don't need to roll to overcome the exact same challenge in the future. You do it quickly in half the time it would normally take. You get new or unexpected information of my choice. You hide your tracks or you show off.
Okay,
Interesting.
so that was 3 successes.
Yeah.
So I guess I have 2 stunts.
2 stunts.
Hide my tracks
Okay.
and get new or unexpected information, please.
Okay. A secure channel request comes in to the executive data console where you're sitting at. When you answer it, the response from whoever's there says, "This be Captain Starbeard. I'm reaching out to the one I spoke to not long ago. This isn't the number we had established ourselves on." I don't think that was the voice I used for him, so I'm gonna just fix it. This isn't the number we used to establish contact with. Who am I speaking to?
This is the comms room of the executive of the Paradisio settlement. The acting executive is reaching out to you right now. The current one operating this comm is Bob, Chief Maintenance Technician.
Well, Bob, it's good to hear from you. We've been listening to the chatter at Paradisio, and it sounds like everything's gone pineapple-shaped for you.
Yes.
I'm guessing you're looking to get off-world.
Extrication is desired.
I'm going to be sending you a number. And what appears on the comm console is a number and then a lot of zeros behind it as far as credits go. He says, if you're able to secure our price, extrication can be arranged.
Is Atwell actually watching or paying attention at all?
Mm-hmm. Sarah, you had a question.
Do I know what Bob did, switching me over to my status?
I imagine so. I imagine you were watching even if she wasn't, because you knew what the plan was anyways.
I think I'll look at...
the question is posed.
I think I'll look at Margaret first. It's our only way.
Margaret looks at it, at the number, and she has that where she wants to protest or haggle because it's it's an extortion amount of money, but then there's also the realization that Bob made a very good point that the Marine success rate, while not terrible, is also not good. And she's read the reports on Hadley's Hope and other instances where uh, things like this have happened, and the Marines really made it a snafu. And so she just says, it's going to be my head for this, but I lose my head here or I lose my head there. Fine, do it.
Transferring funds now.
And there's a moment where it asks for a confirmation code, and she leans in because this is not something that was changed. So she doesn't even notice that the information had been switched when she punches in this digit code, and it just says accepted. It says there's no last name for Sarah. Okay, so I was gonna have just a very subtle acting execs, Sarah such and such. We see Sarah's name flash on the screen briefly, but she's already looked away in disgust at how much money she's just had to. Oh God, what's the word for it when you steal money on a corporate level? Embezzle.
Embezzling?
The money.
Oh,
the money that
that's
she's
under my
just
name now.
Yes, it is. The money that she just embezzled for her own safety. Should have switched it after the fact. Oh well. That's okay. They have to find you first, right?
Yeah, we'll just become pirates.
Exactly. Listen, you're a pilot regardless, right? And so this money transfer takes just a moment, and Starbeard comes back and he says, "Very good. We have an accord. We'll arrange for an extraction at this LZ, and there's coordinates marked not far from the compound, but it does mean having to venture back out."
If you're to meet the ETA, we need to leave now.
Yeah. Are there any other
Also,
weapons
hello,
in here?
Gamer Gramps. Thank you for the raid. Okay. I'm sorry, I missed your question because I was shouting out over it.
I was asking Margaret, are there any other weapons in here? Anything we can use to defend ourselves?
Margaret thinks for a moment, and I'm going to see if there's something cool and completely obscene to give you in the final acts of this. That would just be like, yeah, they gave me this and I don't know how it works.
How about a crossbow? Just like as a fun ornament? Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like that. Yeah, there's she says, well, I used to do archery back in the inner planets, and she opens up this locker where it's this exquisite prized hunting crossbow and just like a quiver of bolts. That's ammo amount is superfluous at this point because we're almost done. But she looks at it and she says, will this work?
It's better than nothing. How about you take that, and I'll keep on that.
You hold up the hand cannon.
The Brave Star. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she goes, oh. All
Do
right.
you need anything?
All is good. You need to move quickly.
I feel like Gerald doesn't have swords, even though there's an inclination to say that there's just something for Bob to grab as a melee weapon. But nah, I think that's it. You do have your welding torch, and it's done well so far.
One last thing before we leave. On the comms, switching out to a broadband, I am switching the distress signal.
Okay.
I'm going to switch it from a purge to an execution order. Anyone on site is to die, and this place is to then burn in nuclear fire.
Mm-hmm.
I hope
You
those
are.
pirates get us off-world.
Yeah, because that could backfire, huh? So give me just one last Comtech roll to program it that way.
All right. No successes.
All right. You try and put it in, and there's an error that pops up, and it just says command not executable once lockdown procedure has been initiated.
And just kind of under his breath as he walks out behind the rest, Mother is angry. As retrieves Jack.
I'll send a quick message to both Rosalinda and Gerald's comms, because I don't know if they're still alive or not, but I'll send them a message that with the coordinates that we're getting out of here. If you're still alive, let's go. I do not send them to Juniper.
Yeah. And so, Gerald, it does arrive on your data pad as you're finishing patching yourself up. Whether you choose to act on it or not remains up to Gerald.
I'm ignoring that along with everything else. I think I've turned it off at this point.
Okay.
Like to the side.
Yeah, Gerald, you do find in one of the little compartments that there is just a flask of whiskey as well. So that maybe he just drinks his sorrow, and we get that closeout for him. For Bob and Sarah and Issa, and now Margaret as well, as you all gear up and make the plans to get out, you start to head out of the executive building, and things have been moving in the background, and this is probably where we see a final confrontation as time is ramping towards our normal end. But once we get through this, we probably will have enough to do a closeout. So I will do it here. As you are making your way out to reach the exit of the building, that's when you hear it again. The sound of something emerging from the vents. This access panel drops, and the first thing you see is the tail descend down, and then in that upside down lowering of itself is this 8-foot tall jet black creature, and it drops and it hunches low, and it looks at all of you, and our human Sarah will take a stress from seeing this large monstrosity. Bob will remain unfazed as they do not feel. And Issa and Margaret both regard it with terror as well, as it is blocking your path.
It's blocking our path out of this room, or just down one hallway?
Out of the hallway, the exit of this hab block, without having to turn around and backtrack a further distance, because there's multiple exits, but this exit hall that you are in is blocked. You don't know if you would survive a straightaway run from this thing, but it could be worth a shot.
I'm going to look to Bob, almost freezing up. I don't know what to do. And then glancing
The
back
neck
towards
just kind
Isa.
of snaps back and forth. Shoulders get worked up. Gets down to a runner's stance, staring at the beast. When I impact, you run. And he is just going to go off in a supernatural sprint and barrel into this thing.
All right. So you make a charge, and the two of you bound at each other at breakneck speeds. It has every intention of doing much the same. Give me a close combat roll.
One success.
Okay. And so you collide with it. And as you do so, Sarah, that's that opportunity for you three to run. What is your first reaction when the two of them impact?
I stare in disbelief at first as he takes off running. Because we've barely known each other, and he's done a shit ton of stuff for me already. And I hesitate for a moment, and then I accidentally yank Isa as I start to run and just take off.
Margaret in quick tow, as the three of you book it and you attempt to run past. Bob will say that this is a grapple that the two of you get into. And as they're running, I'm going to make a roll to see what it does. That's a 5. Let me pull their block back up. On a 5, capture for the hive. All right. It will roll because its tail is not necessarily grappled. So I'm going to do a D4 to see where this goes. 1 is Bob, 2 is Sarah, 3 is Isa, 4 is Margaret. And this is the barbed tail has a paralytic toxin, so that if it strikes somebody, they're going to go down. If it strikes Bob, maybe not so much. 2, Sarah. So as you're attempting to run past, while its attention seems to be on Bob, its facial expressions, it doesn't have eyes. You can't see what it's tracking, what it's looking at. It's grappling Bob, and its tail lashes out, and it strikes. And so with a base 10 die, damage 1, if the attack causes any damage, the Xeno pulls its punch, so only 1 point of damage is inflicted, and the paralyzing venom takes effect. The victim must make a stamina roll. The number of successes is the number of rounds that you can stay conscious. Then you will fall unconscious for 1 shift, which is a longer period of time than a round in this. For 1 shift, the paralysis can be removed with a shot of adrenaline, a medical roll or medical aid roll using a med kit. So I will roll the base 10 and we will see where this leads. There's so much. There we go. 2 successes. So please tack on 1 point of damage as it pulls its punch. But you are able to stay conscious for 2 more. Oh, sorry, you have to roll your stamina. Sorry. Roll a stamina for me, and that'll determine how much you stay up.
Can I push?
Yes, absolutely. This would be the time to push for sure. Okay. So everything kind of slows down for Sarah as this tail whips, and you thought you got past it, and then the tail flies and it goes between you and Isa as you're holding her hand and pulling her along, and it strikes you in the back, and you feel it start to take effect. You are able to still move, but your legs are starting to feel like concrete. We'll whip back around to Bob, who currently are in a wrestling match with this creature.
Do I notice what it did, or am I just
Yes,
so close?
you would have
Okay, I
seen.
notice?
You would have seen it.
I'm going to try and release the grapple, grab Atwell, heave Atwell into the creature.
All right. We'll make an opposed close combat roll for you to grab at her. Listen, this is within character. You have expressed nothing but disdain towards the execs all game. It's a
I've got
one.
One.
All right, so let's see here. Corpo exec. She has a strength of 2, so there's a very good chance you could still win. But my dice have been pretty hot today. Let's see here. It's a 1. Oh God, what happens on ties?
I leave that to you.
Ties have to go to the corporate executive because ties are their whole deal.
That's so good.
But what's good for the narrative?
What's good for the narrative? Bob, let's do just a roll off of a single d6. Higher number will win.
Okay.
And I have a 3.
I have
God damn it, Bob. Go again. 5. 6. There we go. Okay. So poor Margaret. She could have made it. Which, I mean, still fits the narrative because the Marines were still looking for the MIA executive at the end of it. So, Bob, you're able to catch her, and there's probably a yelp of surprise from her as you grab her and you toss her into the xenomorph. When you toss her, its response changes, and I'm going to make a note of what I should roll instead. Capture, ready to kill. Deadly grab, D4. Oh, 5. Okay, I'm going to roll a D5. I'm going to take away the 1 that is not a hostile action as you have thrown her into the lion's den. 5. On a 3. So, 1, 2, 3, that becomes that. Xenomorph grabs the victim. Its inner jaws poised to strike. This is the one we saw earlier. So it's going to count the victim as grabbed. If I roll any successes, she needs to make an opposed close combat roll. The victim and all friendly characters. So Sarah, please mark up another panic roll as you watch Bob throw her into the xenomorph. The last thing you probably see while maintaining consciousness. And
that's -2.
-2, which makes it a 7, which I think is still fairly good. That's the nervous twitch. So stress levels go up. The NPCs don't have stress levels, and Bob doesn't take any stress. So it's fairly fine there. Let's see. Does 10d6, 2 successes, and she has 2d6. 1 success. She's effectively grabbed and will get second mouth punched next round as that all happens. Bob, once you have thrown her, do you move at all?
Yes, I move to immediately grab Sarah with one arm, just like throw over shoulder.
Okay.
Put one arm to support Issa and start moving towards the rendezvous point.
All right. And so I'll say that that's what Issa does as well on her turn. She doesn't try and shoot. She uses this to help move. Sarah, you were going to move, but then you are fireman carried by Bob, and you feel your consciousness slip away as you go down for probably a good long while. So we will leave the camera mostly on Bob for the rest of this. But just so we know what happens when the head bite goes out, the xenomorph the last we see of Margaret is the camera directly overhead of her, the shot of the xenomorph's mouth opening up, the second jaw snaps forward, and the attack is strength of 9 base die, 2 damage. If it causes any damage, it automatically inflicts critical injury number 64, killing the victim in 1 dreadful blow. Wow, that's just the insta-death one. Awesome. However, should the GM wish it, the victim remains just alive enough for the xenomorph to initiate an ovomorphing process, which I feel like is what's going to happen. It's going to stun punch her and then carry her off, because why kill her if it can use her for making a queen later? And so we see Bob carrying Sarah out as the xenomorph drags Margaret Atwell into the vent and takes her to wherever the xenomorphs have begun constructing their hive. It's the last we see of her for the duration of our show. But Bob, you have warded away the xenomorph for now, and so following the coordinates, you and Issa carry Sarah a ways, and we can probably just close it here, just a little bit early, but more or less everything is done. And so the closing scenes that we see is Paradisio lost. The buildings in the distance are smoking. The sounds of panic and terror are slowly dying down as the last of the survivors are making their last stands or being dragged off. But Bob, you trek through the jungle in search of these coordinates, and when you cross into a clearing, there is a drop ship that has landed. It has markings of Starbeard's pirate group, and Starbeard himself is there with 2 other pirates who are armed with pulse rifles and kind of looking around the area. They regard you, but they have already received the money. And as we established with Gerald's negotiations, Starbeard is much more chivalrous than the previous pirate captain, and so he's a man of his word, having received payment. And so he takes the 3 of you aboard. Sarah, you find yourself waking up to the gentle thrum of a familiar sound, a ship thrusting its way out of atmosphere and into orbit. The scene shows the exterior of the planet as the ship drifts off into the inky blackness, and 3 of you survived from a colony of 200 or so people, and unbeknownst to our Marines, 2 days later, they arrive just in time for their dropship to land and begin the attempts of trying to recover very important people, corporate executive Sarah, their husband Gerald, a few other high-profile people such as the chief scientist, who they didn't bother to see if they were okay, and of course extracting Specimen Zero, who was kept down somewhere in the main facility building. But we see everything catch up to where the first episode had been. The events play out in fast forward for the final stand, and the Marines die valiantly, much as Bob had predicted, and Paradisio is lost to a new hive of xenomorphs. And when the vital signal that the command aboard the carrier ship that brought the Marines in sees that all the vitals have been lost and the mission is awash, they do initiate the purge protocol. And so tactical nukes are dropped from the ship into low orbit, where they detonate in several key spots across Paradisio Prime, the planet itself quickly flashing red. as the science lab, the colony, and the outlying area, including our wonderful colony of very gentle and peaceful sentient giant sloths, are wiped from the face of the planet. And that's the end. We have some survivors. I will ask our...
Oh, you were saying? I was going to say...
No.
I'd like an after credits scene for how Gerald finally does go out.
Oh, absolutely. That was going to be my question.
There you
that was
go.
going to be my question of what does the end look like for the three of you? And so why don't we ask Gerald first then, since you had taken a back seat for the latter half of this.
Yeah. So he's been ignoring everything. Everything's been dying, and I think at that point he's one of the last people alive. And we open like with the camera shot on the floor of the VTOL, and then we pan up and we pass a few discarded power bar wrappers, and it's clear from the amount of food that he's been there for like almost 2 days now. Like this is going to be right before the Marines land, and we see that there's a chessboard set up between him and Richard's corpse. There's chess pieces on there. He's bandaged Richard's neck wound, and we'll see that Gerald's not doing so well. Looks like the wound has gotten better of him a little, and he's weakly playing chess with the corpse. And he says to Richard, "Are you sure you want to do that, Richard? I don't think that's the move for you. I think that's going to be." And then like a shadow falls across the board as he moves the piece, and then he looks up and there's an alien upside down on the roof, and it's like in jump position. And then we pan back to Gerald, and he says, checkmate.
Nice, I like it.
And that's where we end. Yeah.
How about Bob? What do you think happens to Bob once you guys are picked up by the pirates?
I think he's in the, again, sort of like military protocol until they break orbit. And then sort of like that signal breaks. And it's more who we first met with Bob. Just kind of tends to his wounds, fixes himself, and then just goes about fixing things and befriending the ship's cat. Like, just goes about.
And they definitely have one.
And just being Bob. It's just, okay, adapt to new things until signal is picked up. So it's just, okay, ship is now colony, maintain ship's technologies.
Maintain ship.
Yeah.
All right.
So
yeah, and I feel like they welcome you pretty handily. It's a crew of misfits and pirates living on the fringes of known space, after all. So once you show that you are, one, not a homicidal synth, even though they found you covered in blood, and you have done nothing but help maintain and improve their ship, they are more than welcoming, and they get you some new clothes that doesn't mark you as a Weyland-Yutani piece of property. You are treated as your own man, finally. And you have a new home, and you find that Starbeard is a fairly competent leader. He doesn't do very silly things, and he probably the most cutthroat thing he does is airlock people for incompetence. So you at least have that going for you. He doesn't suffer fools.
I think if that is the thing that's being presented, we have like Starbeard, like guys clearly being insubordinate, and Starbeard just goes, Bob, and Bob just slugs the guy, breaks his nose, and then just dragging him to the airlock.
Bob's the enforcer now. I like it. Yeah, it totally,
I love
definitely.
Garbage Day. Like, the last line is, I love Garbage Day.
Yes, I love it. And Sarah, you managed to get out with Issa alive. What does it look like for the two of you now that one, you took a corporate exec promotion, two, you're in unimaginable debt from Weyland-Yutani, and you have the option of becoming a space pirate?
Yeah. I both owe the money of being a colonist and then the money we accidentally embezzled under my name. So that's not looking good. First thing waking up is a good long cry with Isa. Because this was stressful. And then, yeah, considering our skills and that we have nowhere else to go, lesbian space pirates. I mean, that seems the obvious choice here.
The golden ending right there, yeah. All right, lesbian space pirates for sure.
Joining the crew with Bob.
Yeah, corporate exec Sarah, space or colony marshal Issa, you both abandon your monikers and you become space lesbian pirates together, along with Bob. And I think probably the three of you stay as like a cohesive unit within this pirate group as well. And that's probably the last we see of them. The closing shot, of course, is something that I just remembered that could be important if there is ever a sequel to this. Rosalinda had extracted some information from the science lab for safekeeping and had sent it out. And so what we end up seeing is somewhere else, far from Paradisio, this data signal has finally reached itself, because even though technology is what it is, alien technology exists parallel to a futuristic, 80s. So data transfer is very slow, even in our modern society. So in the time that it takes for it to arrive, it arrives, and you see a woman that resembles Rosalinda, looks like a sibling or a family member that had either gotten off somehow or didn't reside on the colony, but they received this packet of information, and there's a grin on their face as they say, "We could get a lot of money from this." And then it cuts to black and starts to roll the credits. And that's it. That's us. This is the show. Hello, everyone. I would do experience, but where everybody levels up.
Yeah.
Did you earn? Did you earn money today, Sarah? No, I'm in unimaginable debt. I mean, technically, you did. You earned a lot of money and then lost it all immediately. But yeah, so
I inherited some money.
You did, yeah. I mean,
and then I
everybody
died myself,
who became,
so.
Yeah, you cleaned Richard out at betting on the chess games, and everybody who became a pirate earned money technically. So, yeah, that is the end. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for putting up with our sporadic schedule. Health and injuries and other things were a pretty common cause of us missing out, and then we just wrapped up here to coincide with the rest of the schedule, and it was rather abrupt for everyone, including ourselves. So apologies for any chaos, panic, and disorder that it did cause, but I feel like we hit a satisfying ending. If we had stretched out a number of episodes, it probably would have been lessened, but I still would have liked to have seen what happened to everybody else. Maybe Juniper is still alive down there somewhere, eking out a horrible existence in their tube underground, where they were perfectly safe for now. But that could remain to be seen in another episode. But everybody else, who are you? Where can we find you in other games or in the future if you're at my table again? Virtual table. We'll start with.
Hey.
Oh, go ahead, Bob. Pope.
I always volunteer. So does Bob. Hey everybody, Pope here. Popeworldbuild on Twitter, Popeworldbuild on Twitch. I lurk in all your streams. It has been an absolute delight getting to be a part of this cast and tell this incredible and very sort of true to form story. Even before I got here, you guys were amazing with just hitting those character and story beats that just make a part of all of this lore that's been going on for decades. So kudos to all of you. And just also bringing all the emotion and complexity to these characters and breathing life into it all. Thank you all so much. If you want to see more of my ridiculous face, you get a number of opportunities. Coming up next is Wednesday over on Follow Black Cats. See me play somebody even more murderous than Bob as I play Sherlock, a burned spy in the spy game Hexcrawl. And then on every other Sunday over on Matev7's channel, something completely different. You can see me play a struggling young thunder god as part of Mask's Sunset City, where we make less than ideal choices and weird things happen. So that's 9:30 p.m. Eastern, every other Sunday, Matev7. And thank you all so much for being here. Those of you tuning in, whether live, VOD, YouTube, wherever you are, a story is nothing without its audience. And thank you so much for being a part of this and making this what it all is. And with that, take care, everybody.
Why don't we go to ArchivalDustBun?
Hey, yeah, I guessed right. Yeah, I'm Anna, aka ArchivalDustBunny. I played Sarah, the didn't come up, but trans pilot here in the colony, now lesbian space pirate. Very proud of that ending. I'm a queer trans advocate, museum worker, and TTRPG streamer. If any of that sounds interesting, you can find me on Twitter at ArchivalDustBun. Let's see, season's wrapping up, but tomorrow night you can find me over on Black Feather Guild playing Dragon Age in a 2-party campaign. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday night you can find me on TPK Roleplay for part 3 of our Zentrum mini-series that we're doing. Sundays you can find me either on Gona_Hawking's Twitch channel playing Shifting Echoes, which is our D&D 5e campaign set in a world of 1930s technology. That's at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Really great cast of characters and players for that. Or you can find me on Guild of the Phoenix at 8 p.m. Eastern playing Cyberpunk Red. And if podcasts are more your thing, you can find me in Response Team Omnicron, a Lancer actual play podcast playing through the No Room for a Wildflower setting, following a PR team that has unexpectedly found itself on the front lines. We're not very competent, but getting the job done. It's a lot of fun. It's a great story, and thank you so much for all those of you who have listened to it so far. We've seen some really amazing support. We really appreciate that. But yeah, this was such a fun campaign. So happy to have been on and to tell stories with all of you and those who weren't here tonight as well. Just looking forward to playing with you all again.
Yes.
Yeah,
I definitely hope I get to play with you again. Meeting you was one of my high points. This was such a good show. I really enjoyed playing Gerald. It was such a lovable goof and like so bad at his job at a lot of levels, but not all of them. And I really liked my little ending that I came up with for like the chess thing. That was good. Good stuff.
It was really good. I liked it.
Yeah. Shame my wife died. Like even when I base her on Agent Peggy Carter, she still just nope, didn't save her. Oh well.
She didn't even get to use the crossbow, which was sad.
Yeah.
She was gonna get a shot off. Where can we find you?
Yeah, let's see. In a couple hours, I will be over on Polished Cryptid's channel, where I play Domrain, the Githzerai noble fighter, and he's currently cursed by maybe Loath. He's slowly dying from exhaustion, so that sucks. Hopefully, he'll manage to get out of that this episode. After that, there's Fridays over on Raven's channel, the Blackfeather Guild, where I played Jade, your humble servant of the world's very best elven butler, where we finally left the Fade. We've buried a few dead parents, you know how that goes, and now we're off to get our just rewards. And after that, I am on Uncanny Adventures, where I play Holt, the pirate paladin who tries to make friends with all the evil pirates. And I look forward to doing just that right after I get done killing a bunch of Navy people.
Sweet.
And that's me.
All right. And of course, I'm Rindis of Partywipegames, who's always happy to run games here on Weave the Tale. You can catch me next. I have to think what day it is because my schedule for work has flipped again for like the third time this year. It's Monday. Normally tomorrow you would catch us playing Vampire the Masquerade, where I play a La Sombra in a Sabbat-themed campaign. We will not be doing that. My girlfriend and I have plans, so that game is canceled again. We canceled last week as well because of the holidays, and probably just expect more holiday stuff because it's the holiday season. But for now, Vampire the Masquerade is on Tuesdays. Wednesday, we play Tomb of Annihilation, 5th edition adventure, where I play a druid, and the first time playing a druid, and I'm having a blast with it. Thursdays, we play Wild Beyond the Witchlight, another published 5th edition game. Fridays is over on Valdrian's channel, where I run Mass, an RPG game. They finally got to meet their Legion of Doom type of antagonists who showed up at their hero school academy and murdered the headmaster in front of them, and subsequently threw down the gauntlet that the superhero rules are no longer in play. So we're seeing what happened there, and more importantly, the last episode, 2 characters went on a date with the literal devil. So that happened. So we're gonna see where it picks up next week or this week. Saturdays, we play a homebrew 5th edition game, a lot of 5th edition right now. And Sundays, we finished our Savage Worlds game where we were playing Weird World War II with a fantasy bend. We fought the dark elf equivalent of what would be fantasy Hitler, and we managed to attack her while she was bringing her SS troops on a train, and I had a mech, and we had a communist dragonborn sniper who shot her, and we did a bunch of cool stuff with blood magic, and it was insane. It was a good time. That game wrapped up. We are going to start Starfinder this coming week, so that's going to be a dramatic shift from industrial fantasy to sci-fi fantasy. We'll see how it goes. I'm not looking forward to the number crunch, but space is always fun. I enjoy space. Mondays are going to be open now, and we will see what it will become for me in the future. But that's it. Let's see if there's anyone we can raid, because we should spread the love to people. There is...
Diesel Shot, I believe, is on.
Diesel popped on? Diesel Shot, yeah. Diesel Shot are very close friends to both Weave the Tale and my channel. They're great people. I've helped kickstart a lot of their stuff that they are doing. If you have not had a chance to check out their Change Stars campaign setting, it is a modified version of the Alien RPG that they made into their largely owned property, and it's pretty great. But today they're playing High Roads, which is a Dungeons & Dragons. So let's go to Diesel Shot and give them some love. Everybody give them some love, say hi, and we will see you next time for the next game.
Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a place made just for you. We at Wayland-Yutani have done just that. Come explore our luxurious Earth-like biomes using state-of-the-art technology developed by Wayland Corporation. We have created perfection. Breathe air fresher than anything you have ever experienced. Swim in our crystal clear waters and experience what the finest genetic engineering has created by taking a simple stroll through a park. What are you waiting for? Come to Paradisio now and experience life.